This is happening right now in Jerusalem. The ancient stones of the old city shimmered under the morning sun as thousands gathered in stunned silence. Even reporters had no words. And when I tell you why, you'll understand what's truly unfolding. The mainstream media isn't covering this fully. They're reporting it as an archaeological discovery. But those who were there know it's much more. You're watching this because something in your spirit recognizes this moment as different. It began yesterday at dawn. The same soil where prophets walked, the same streets that heard the Messiah's footsteps, suddenly came alive. Workers renovating an underground section near the Western Wall felt a tremor. Not an earthquake as the officials first reported, but something more precise, more intentional. The ground seemed to breathe, said Eli Mizrachi, a 67-year-old stonemason who has worked in Jerusalem's old city for 4 decades. I've felt earthquakes before. This was different, like the earth itself was trying to reveal something. What happened next defied explanation. As the workers cleared away debris from a small fissure in the wall, cool air rushed out, air that hadn't circulated for thousands of years. And with it came a sound that witnesses described as melodic vibrations, or harmonies without voices. Within hours, people throughout the old city reported feeling drawn to the Western Wall Plaza. Not by news or social media. Many arrived before any announcements were made. They simply felt compelled to come. I was having breakfast when I felt I needed to go to the wall immediately, said Rachel Levinson, an American tourist. I can't explain it. I left my food half-eaten and just walked there like something was calling me. By noon, thousands had gathered, creating a sea of humanity from every nation, language, and faith. Jews, Christians, Muslims, standing together in reverent silence as archaeologists carefully widened the opening. This isn't hysteria, this is prophecy in motion. What the prophets saw thousands of years ago is unfolding before our eyes. In Isaiah 22:22 it was written, "I will place on his shoulder the key to the house of David. What he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open." And in Revelation 3:7-8, "These are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open. I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." My friend, can you feel this in your spirit? Do you realize we are witnessing what generations only dreamed of? The veil between heaven and earth is getting thinner. As the sun set over Jerusalem yesterday, the workers had only widened the opening enough to shine lights inside. What those lights revealed has shaken the foundation of archaeological understanding and confirms what believers have known in their hearts for millennia. Now that you know this is happening, what will you do about it? While the world sleeps, God is calling those who are awake. What was revealed in that chamber stopped a city, but what's coming will stop the entire world. Today, something impossible appeared beneath the Temple Mount. The streets went silent as word spread through Jerusalem. People left their work and families to gather near the Western Wall. Even the most skeptical fell quiet when they saw what had been uncovered. They don't want you to show you everything that's happening. The authorities have restricted access to maintain site integrity, but the truth can't stay hidden forever. The chamber discovered yesterday has now been partially opened. The ancient stones of Jerusalem seem to hold their breath as archaeologists carefully removed the final barrier. The golden afternoon light bathed the old city as history and prophecy converged in a moment no one present will ever forget. What they found wasn't a simple cave or storage room. It was a perfectly preserved chamber, untouched for what experts estimate to be nearly 3,000 years, dating to the time of Solomon's temple. The chamber walls bear inscriptions in ancient Hebrew, Aramaic, and a third script that scholars have yet to identify. But it's what stands at the center that has caused even secular archaeologists to question everything they thought they knew. A table of pure gold, not gold-plated, but solid gold, stands in perfect condition. Upon it rests 7 objects arranged in a specific pattern that matches descriptions found in both ancient Hebrew texts and obscure Dead Sea Scrolls that were only discovered in the last century. "This shouldn't be possible," said Dr. Sarah Bergman, lead archaeologist at the site. "These scrolls describe this chamber and these artifacts in exact detail, written centuries after the chamber was sealed, but centuries before we had the technology to detect it. It's as if the writers had seen it, but that would have been impossible. The chamber contains no footprints in the dust, no signs of previous entry. It has remained sealed since the days of the First Temple." Dr. Yaakov Cohen, a religious scholar invited to view the chamber, emerged visibly shaken. "The arrangement of items matches exactly what is written in Jeremiah 32. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. In Jeremiah 32:14 it states, "This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says, Take these documents, both the sealed and unsealed copies of the deed of purchase, and put them in a clay jar so they will last a long time." And in 2 Corinthians 4:7, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." As night fell over Jerusalem, something even more inexplicable occurred. Visitors near the chamber reported hearing voices, not modern voices, but what many described as ancient whispers in languages few could understand. Yet somehow, everyone received the same message, regardless of their native tongue. "It wasn't frightening," said Miguel Santos, a pilgrim from Brazil. "It felt like remembering something I'd always known, but had forgotten. Like the stones themselves were speaking truths written in my heart long ago. My friend, can you feel this in your spirit? God is moving the pieces of the end times. This is the preview of the greatest event in human history. The authorities have now sealed off the area completely, citing preservation concerns. But those who were there know what they experienced cannot be explained away. Are you ready for what comes next? While experts debate and governments hesitate, the prophecy continues to unfold. What was hidden is now revealed, but this is only the beginning. Jerusalem stopped this morning for a reason no one can explain. As dawn broke over the Mount of Olives, a soft light, different from sunlight, seemed to emanate from the newly discovered chamber. Thousands who had kept vigil throughout the night witnessed it together. People fell to their knees spontaneously, overcome by a presence many described as tangible peace. The international media has reduced this to a mass psychological event or light reflection phenomenon. But those who were there know what they experienced. You're seeing this because you need to understand what's truly happening in our world right now. The chamber has now been fully documented by archaeological teams, revealing its true purpose. It wasn't merely a storage room, but a prophetic time capsule, intentionally sealed during King Hezekiah's reign, with instructions for it to be found in what Hebrew inscriptions call the final generation. At the heart of this discovery lies a sealed scroll, preserved in a silver container filled with aromatic oils that have kept the parchment in perfect condition for 3 millennia. The container bears inscriptions that match precisely with those described in a vision recorded by the prophet Isaiah, a description written in text that scholars have debated for centuries, unsure of its literal meaning until now. We've dated the materials to approximately 700 BCE, confirmed Dr. Elizabeth Chen, an expert in ancient manuscript preservation. The preservation techniques used were unknown to us until today. There is no scientific explanation for how organic materials could remain in this condition for so long without modern conservation methods. When carefully removed from its container, the scroll emitted a faint harmonic tone that registered on audio equipment but defied acoustic analysis. Those in the room described it as music without instruments and the sound of reverence itself. The scroll contains writing in 3 sections. The first matches known Hebrew texts. The The second contains previously unknown psalms attributed to King David, but it's the third section that has caused scholars and theologians to rethink everything. It contains detailed descriptions of our modern world, written nearly 3,000 years ago. Rabbi David Levi, one of the few religious scholars permitted to examine the text, emerged from the chamber visibly moved. The scroll speaks of a time when the world is connected by invisible threads, when knowledge covers the earth like water, when Israel is reborn after long exile. It describes our exact moment in history, then speaks of what comes next. In Habakkuk 2:2-3 we read, "Write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets, so that a herald may run with it. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end, and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." And in Revelation 5:1-5, "Then I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, 'Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?'" My friend, do you realize we are witnessing what generations only dreamed of seeing? The appointed time that prophets spoke about is unfolding in our lifetime. As afternoon approached, another remarkable event occurred. People of different faiths who had gathered near the Western Wall Plaza began to share spontaneous testimonies of dreams they'd had, identical dreams, about this discovery, months and even years before it happened. "I saw this chamber in a dream 3 years ago," said Ahmed al-Bakri, a Muslim shopkeeper from the Old City, "and every detail exactly as it's been found. I didn't understand it then, but I do now. God is awakening his people across every boundary and division. The veil between heaven and earth is getting thinner. Now that you know this, what will you do? Are you among those who are awake and watching? What was written on that scroll about our near future will be revealed in time, but those with eyes to see already understand its meaning. This is happening right now in Jerusalem. The ancient city stands transformed this morning. What began as an archaeological curiosity has become a phenomenon that defies secular explanation. People who arrived as skeptics are leaving as witnesses to something beyond scientific understanding. The truth is spreading despite limited official acknowledgement. You're seeing this because in times of revelation, some are chosen to carry the message further. The chamber beneath the Western Wall has become the center of a spiritual awakening unlike anything in modern history. The soft light first noticed yesterday has grown more defined, visible even in daylight hours. Scientists brought in to study it have confirmed it emits no radiation or heat, has no identifiable power source, and interacts with matter in ways that defy the known laws of physics. "It's as if it's not truly light as we understand it," explained Dr. Nathan Weiss, a quantum physicist called to examine the phenomenon. "It moves with intention. It responds to human presence. In 30 years of scientific research, I've never encountered anything like it. The most remarkable quality of this light is how it affects those who encounter it. Hundreds have reported spontaneous healings, not just of physical ailments, but of deep emotional wounds. Enemies have embraced, decades-long conflicts resolved in moments of clarity and forgiveness. Miriam Cohen, an 84-year-old Holocaust survivor, was among those who experienced the light directly. "For 70 years I've carried hatred for what was done to my family," she said, tears streaming down her face. "In one moment, it was lifted, not forgotten, but transformed into something I can't explain. I feel whole for the first time since I was a child." More astonishing still are the synchronicities occurring globally. Reports are emerging from every continent of similar lights appearing, smaller but identical in nature, at precisely the same times each day. Ancient sites in particular, from Stonehenge to the pyramids, from Machu Picchu to Angkor Wat, have become focal points for these manifestations. This isn't coincidence. This is divine orchestration. What the prophet saw thousands of years ago is unfolding before our eyes. In Ezekiel 43:2, it was written, "And I saw the glory of the God of Israel coming from the east. His voice was like the roar of rushing waters, and the land was radiant with his glory." And in Matthew 24:27, "For as lightning that comes from the east is visible even in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man." My friend, can you feel this in your spirit? We are witnessing the preliminary events of what all of history has pointed toward. The cosmic timeline is advancing exactly as foretold. This afternoon, scholars completed the preliminary translation of the sealed scroll. While the full text remains under careful study, certain passages have been released, passages that speak directly to our current moment. One section, translated from ancient Hebrew, reads, "When the nations are connected as one body, when knowledge flows like rivers across the earth, when Israel stands reborn after exile, look to the foundations of the holy city. What was hidden shall be revealed. What was sealed shall be opened. The light from below shall mirror the light from above, and those with eyes to see will understand." Do you realize we are the generation that was written about, the ones who would witness the unsealing? God is moving the pieces of the end times. As night falls over Jerusalem, thousands maintain vigil near the Western Wall. People of all faiths praying together, not in confusion of beliefs but in recognition that something transcendent is occurring, something that speaks to the deepest human understanding that we are more than material beings in a material world. Are you ready for what comes next? While the world debates and analyzes, prophecy continues its unstoppable advance. What was revealed in that chamber is changing a city. But what's coming will change the entire world. Today, something impossible appeared over the Temple Mount. As morning light touched Jerusalem's ancient stones, witnesses reported a phenomenon that defies natural explanation. A column of light, visible to all, regardless of faith or background, extended from the chamber below to the sky above. It appeared not as physical light, but as what many described as visible harmony, or peace made manifest. Even reporters had no words as cameras failed to capture what human eyes could plainly see. And when I tell you why, you'll understand the true nature of what's unfolding. The mainstream media is struggling to categorize what's happening, but the truth can't stay hidden when thousands witness it together. You're watching this because you're meant to be part of this awakening moment. The golden dome of the noble sanctuary and the Western Wall Plaza beneath it became the convergence point for people of all nations, languages and faiths. Jews, Christians, Muslims, and seekers of all kinds, standing together not in theological agreement, but in shared recognition of divine movement. What makes this truly remarkable is that each person experiences the phenomenon in ways that speak to their own spiritual understanding, yet all receive the same essential message: wake up, prepare, be ready. The previously sealed scroll has now been fully translated, revealing text that scholars confirm was written during King Hezekiah's reign, yet describes our precise global moment with impossible accuracy. We've verified the age using every available scientific method, confirmed Dr. James Richardson, a manuscript expert from Oxford University. There is no question about its authenticity or age. What we cannot explain is how writers nearly 3,000 years ago could describe the specific conditions of our world today, from digital communication to environmental challenges to geopolitical alignments. It's as if they witnessed our time firsthand. Most profound are the scroll's final passages, which speak of a global awakening beginning in Jerusalem, but extending to every nation, tribe, and tongue. It describes a time when ancient divisions shall dissolve, not through human effort, but through divine revelation. Throughout the day, spontaneous gatherings formed in cities across the world, people drawn together by shared dreams and intuitive knowing. Reports flood in from Tokyo to Toronto, from Sydney to Sao Paulo, describing identical experiences of light, clarity, and purpose. This isn't mass hysteria, this is prophecy in motion. What was written millennia ago is activating in our lifetime. In Joel 2:28-29, it was foretold, "And afterward, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your old men will dream dreams, your young men will see visions. Even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my Spirit in those days." And in Acts 2:17-18, this was confirmed. In the last days, God says, "I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your young men will see visions, your old men will dream dreams. Even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my Spirit in those days." My friend, can you feel this in your spirit? We are standing at the threshold of what all of human history has been moving toward. The veil between heaven and earth is getting thinner. As evening approached, another remarkable development occurred. The light emanating from the chamber began to synchronize with human intention. When thousands gathered in prayer, the light expanded and intensified. When voices joined in harmony, regardless of the language or tradition, the light responded with what witnesses described as joyful recognition. Dr. Sarah Abelman, a neuroscientist studying the phenomenon, noted, "We're measuring brainwave patterns among those present that show unprecedented levels of synchronization. People who have never met are entering identical mental and emotional states simultaneously." There's no scientific framework that fully explains this. This is the preview of the greatest event in human history. Now that you know this is happening, how will you respond? While many sleep through the most significant spiritual moment of our age, God is calling those who are awake. What began in a hidden chamber beneath Jerusalem's ancient stones is awakening hearts worldwide. This isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the final chapter. The light revealed beneath the holy city has illuminated a path forward, not of fear or division, but of awakening and preparation. What comes next depends on how humanity responds to this divine invitation. Until then, stay ready, stay faithful. The greatest revelation awaits those with eyes to see and ears to hear.